You're tuned in to another episode of the Black Wealth Effect podcast. I'm your host, Mario. As always, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment for our show so we can keep bringing you this great content. Our guest this week is Keziah. Keziah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor. Hope we have a good time today and have some great discussions.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And so, to start, like we usually like to just like get to know our guests a little bit. And
Sure.
so, for our listeners that aren't familiar with you,
Mhm.
can you talk just a little bit about your background, and your profession as well?
Sure. Well, my name is Keziah Osei, and I am a well, I consider myself more so of a visionary, artistic general contractor now. That's what like my clients be telling me. When it comes to like the completion of my work and stuff like that, and giving me like free creative direction. It's great to just be able to work in people's homes. I do anything from kitchens, basements, bathrooms, all type of renovations, additions. I'm really well known for like kitchens, really nice bathrooms. Um, and yeah, we just do an array of services that anything that has to do with home renovations, right? So I started off as a carpenter. I'm actually a framer by trade. I've framed houses for about almost like 11 years, and
Wow.
built many, 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 many homes, residential homes. In those days, we would, frame a house from, every 2 weeks, we're putting up a new house. Every 2 weeks. That's how fast, we would go through houses and foundations in the neighborhood, right? So, um, just being a carpenter, learning how to do rough framing, I could basically like build my own house from scratch as soon as I get the foundation poured. Everything that goes up from the foundation to the roof, I can completely do on my own, like reading blueprints and laying foundations down. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty well versed in that. When I was in the trade, and there was absolutely never saw a single female on the construction site. It was always more so male dominated, and to be quite honest, I never felt any barriers. I knew that I could do anything that they were doing. I never looked at any barriers. I never felt like there was any hindrances, anything that can stop me from, physically being able to manage like the workload that they were doing. So I always had that in my mind. And yeah, framed for many years, went to Alberta, framed for about 2, 3 years. That's where I also learned how to tile real well. I also became like a tile setter, and then I kind of combined the two, and then decided to come out of the general labor position and really open up my own business, be my own boss, make my own hours, make my own money. Didn't want to be a slave to nobody or society. I wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that I would kind of be able to gauge and basically allow myself to make money when I wanted to, not to be paid when on someone else's terms, type of thing. I know that's the rule of how like the world goes around, but
Mhm.
I have a more different focus, and that's to kind of like get out of the norm, and do something extraordinary, inspire my community, people that look like me, um, that feel like like it's impossible to ever succeed in the industry like this. And yeah, just breaking those barriers, and showing that like I'm a living testimony of a contractor, and doing it well too, right? Doing it well too, because
That's awesome.
I got the real keys to the city, honey, and I'm gonna say it loud and proud, loud
As
and
you should. As you should. I love
yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that.
sure,
A- And you touched on a few things that I want to kind of delve in a little bit more.
sure,
But first off, kudos to you. You've definitely had a lot of success, and to your point, in an industry that's primarily like male dominated.
yes.
Kudos to you with with having that success. Can you, on that point, like, can you share a little bit about like the inspiration Like what drove you to be passionate about this industry? Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, sure. What really drove me was the fact that I just knew that I wasn't the type that wanted to be in the office or do anything like every single day on a computer or anything like that. I knew I always wanted to work with my hands. I always wanted to build. Um, I'm from, West Africa, Ghana. So I'm from the Ashanti Kingdom, and we as women, as females, we were kind of like the warriors, ones who'd go out, hunt, build, and do all
Hmm.
of that stuff. So I naturally have that in my nature. And even though in my culture it is also like not, um, ordinary to see a female doing a male dominated job and stuff like that. You know, um, I still kind of just went against the odds with that as well. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
saw no barrier. So it was like a thing where I knew that, it was a path that I wanted to take, a path that I knew wouldn't be easy, a path that I knew that, there wouldn't be much like me that can help guide me and help me on that path. But I just had like the ultimate faith in God and knew that, once I have the faith, the will, I can do really all things and like exceed even my own expectations sometimes, which I do, to be honest. Um, and really just a manifesting excellence, Black excellence in everything I do, everything I put my mind towards, my partnerships, relationships, business wise, clients, customer, everything. Like it's always about Black excellence for me, right? Hence why,
Amazing.
you know, I get looked at by, like big TV productions like HGTV, right? So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm really embarking on new journeys on, you know what I mean? So just hoping, just real happy for the future, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice. And we're gonna get into that a little bit more later on, but thanks for sharing that.
No
And
problem.
so the clients that you work with, like you work with both like residential and commercial clients, correct?
Yes, majority residential. We are getting
Okay.
into commercial. I haven't really I've been so swamped with just residential with word of mouth, and as soon as we're done one project, we're on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. So we've kind of honed in a lot on the residential homes, but definitely commercial projects we do as well.
Hmm. What would you say are some of the key differences just amongst like the residential as opposed like versus the commercial clients in your
Oh well,
experience?
there's a lot of differences when well, in clients per se. Not much difference. Every client wants a good job. They want a reliable contractor, somebody they can depend on, does good work, and gets things done in a timely fashion. Right, efficient contractors. Right, I'm sure. But when it comes to like just the building, there's a lot of differences when it comes to like the building code and things that you can and cannot do when it comes to residential and things to code that you can't do when it comes to commercial. So it's kind of
Mhm.
knowing both. Canada has one of the best building codes in the world. Actually, the NOC is one of the best in the world. So, like following like rules and regulations of Canadian building code, I think it's like the safest, like the safest way to go. To be honest, so aside from that, there's not much of a difference. It's just knowing the different trades, rules, regulations when it comes to different fields of the project, the electrical, the plumbing. Like there's certain things that are different when it comes to residential than commercial. So you just got to kind of know the differences in what you're doing, right? You got to be well knowledgeable.
Mhm.
Can't just go and just dabble in stuff, put your hands in things, and not know what's going on, right? So yeah,
Mhm. That's awesome.
yeah.
And so you touched on it as well, but like you were like HGTV's like first black contractor presenter.
First Black
Um,
female contractor to ever work with them in 35 years. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so,
From since they birth, right? So I kind of, it's history, right? It's actually history made. I know there's not much noise being made about it or anything like that. I'm not really looking for that. I'm not looking for validation like that. I know within me, you know what I mean? The things that I've
mhm,
accomplished or the things that I'm doing here. So it's just for, me and the
yeah,
universe. But yeah, technically, just made history in Canada right here for my people, for us. You know what I mean?
congratulations.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so with that in mind, like when I think about like HGTV TV shows on like flipping
Right.
houses or doing renovation projects, are they normally like as easy or as difficult as they make it seem on TV to actually go through the process yourself?
Like when it comes to clients, no, not at all.
Oh,
Actually, not at
the
all.
actual renovations themselves. So they
The
usually
only
say how easy it is.
yeah,
I feel like there's more than what meets the eye, but kind of what's shown on those shows when actually
no.
doing a renovation project.
My experience is it's fast paced. That's the only difference. It's fast
Mm,
paced. They still want to make sure that you're following rules and regulations. Like nothing is going to be done without actual structural engineers or building codes. Um, you know what I mean? And they want it done in a timely fashion. Working with HDTV and having to have these projects done within 6 weeks was like crazy to me. But it kind of propelled me in my own business, whereas I kind of use that timeline now, even though before HGTV we're still doing our thing, but it kind of propelled us to a higher level just because um I guess it kind of installed like a more of a fast paced um efficiency thing with us, so it was like a great experience. Clients, we never spoke to none of the clients during the process. It was only after the reveal, and we actually get to meet them and see them and everything like that, right? So
right.
it's mostly the host that communicate with them, and when it comes to the design and all of that. And no, it was pretty smooth sailing. Television is very intense. And it's all about literally it's timing. Timing is like a serious thing, and that was basically the only thing. But other than that, we were able to handle it. Hence why, like, out of 8 episodes, they gave us like basically half of the season. Yeah. So I'm on
Nice.
episode. Yeah, so I'm on episodes 1, 3, and 7, which aired yesterday at 10 o'clock. I hope you tuned in and watched the episode.
Nice, nice. If you didn't, I'd imagine they're replaying it sometime soon.
Oh yeah, you definitely check it on. I think it's on the Global TV app, Stack TV, and of course all your streaming,
Platforms.
outlets like YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure if you type it in, you could definitely check it out. So it's Styled Season 2, HGTV. Canada. You know what I mean? We're there representing. We're there representing. So we need the community to really, you know what I mean, push the views and
Mhm,
the streams and stuff like that, so that we can continue the opportunity, right? Of
mhm.
showcasing and showing people who we are, what we do, and being at the table as well, right?
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so for those listeners looking to take on their first DIY project, renovation
right.
project,
Okay,
as, as well as those who might be working with a contractor for the first time
right.
for a project, what advice would you give them? And then like what are some of the like common missteps or like shortfalls that you see people experience when they go through it for the first time?
Learn how to read a measuring tape. That is your most basic tool that you're gonna need. So you gotta know how to read a measuring tape. That's number one. All right. Other
Okay.
than that, is just being alert and focused, kind of doing a little bit of research before you go and dabble. You know what I mean? Kind of
Mhm.
knowing a little information about the trade that you're going to be working on, whatever it may be. Just having that little knowledge and that little guide as to kind of what is going to be happening throughout the day, just so that you're not completely lost. Get ahead of the game a little bit. I'm always about getting ahead of the game, um, and
Planning.
and kind of learning and being really attentive. Being competent is really important. You know what I mean? Having that um, kind of like a confidence
Mhm.
to kind of execute the job in a good timely fashion. The quality is always key, and yeah, so I don't think there's anything different between working with a contractor and kind of doing a DIY project. Both avenues, you're learning. You're and not everybody is always going to teach the same way. I can teach something different from another way a contractor teaches something. So you always got to still do your like due diligence to make sure you're learning from the right people, right? You're learning from the right contractors and applying it
Mhm.
to however way you feel fit. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
DIYs anybody can do as long as you put your mind to it. You know what I mean? You look at the project and face it forward. You're definitely gonna accomplish something. You know?
Love it. Great
Yeah.
advice. And what would you say are some common mistakes for first timers?
Some common mistakes for first timers. I would say some common mistake for first timers is let me see. What
It's
would be
probably a
some
lot.
common
It's
mistakes?
probably a lot of things that could go wrong.
Probably a lot, right? Like obviously learning things for the first time, so you're gonna have to go over things, like I said, coming on site or learn or not being prepared, like having your PPEs, your equipment, tool belts, all of that. Just little common mistakes. Like if I was to hire somebody and you were to come on my job site and you didn't have your steel toes on, your tool belt with the necessary tools you need. For instance, for a lot of the stuff I do, you need a tool belt that has a tape in it, hammer, and a square. That's all you need. An X-Acto knife, if anything.
Mhm.
And then as we go along and you learn and you get more experience, there'll be other stuff in your tool belt, right? But that's
Yeah.
number one, especially when you're working with a contractor for the first time being hired. Definitely want to show the contractor that you're up and you're ready, and you understand, like, what's going on. So that's really important. Another mistake is being a little bit over competent. Because you on a construction site, you got to be safe, right? That's the number.
Yeah.
That's a definitely an environment where accidents can happen, and sometimes it could lead to very detrimental situations, right? So
Mhm.
you got to really be alert when it comes to be working on a construction site. And if you're a DIYer, just having, like, the safety tips and knowing things to, goggles, and making sure you protecting your eyes, right? You want to make sure you do certain things that protect your body from being injured in any way, right? So that's
Yeah.
really important. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
a lot more mistakes, right? But for me, what was like a mistake that I don't know, because me, what I did was I just walked on a construction site one day and I'm like, yo, listen, I want a job. I don't want to
Mhm.
get paid. I just want experience. Give me a couple months to just learn the trade, and that was it. That was it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Like when
that's
I think
how
about,
that happened.
yeah, yeah, thanks for sharing that. Like when I think about um, mistakes from an investor perspective, I think one, and you could
Right?
probably attest to this as well, is like investors can sometimes, depending on if it's like a rental property or it's a home they're looking
Right?
to flip, over or under renovate, right? And so I think like knowing your market, knowing the
Oh,
neighborhood,
for sure. Oh, for
and that's
sure, for
yeah.
sure. Oh, yes, definitely, for sure, for sure. Over renovating, I guess, yeah, definitely, you would definitely have to look at your market. But for sure, renovating your house obviously would automatically brings up the value of your home. No ifs,
Mhm.
ands, or buts about that, right? So you invest a little money in renovating your home, you bring up the appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
your house is like a bank, right? Because once you do an appraisal and your house is worth so much more, right? Now you can leverage your house and be able to borrow more from the bank, right? That's why I would never encourage any homeowner to ever sell a house. Sorry, we just got off topic a little bit, but
No, no.
part of my business that I'm incorporating now is also like educating clients on, you know, um, managing their house, maintaining their house, renovating their house, learning about the equity that's in their house that they could potentially have and use. A lot of people in our community are not aware of that, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of clients I have, they're like, they want to do renovations, they're bad, their house is literally run down, they have no
Mhm.
money, and don't realize that their house, they've been paying mortgage for the past 20 years, 25 years, right? You definitely have some equity saved in your house, right? So why not, check out what you qualify for, how much you could borrow, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
you just move up the ladder from there, right? It's a whole different ball game when it comes to that. But that's something that I'm definitely like, starting to educate my clients on, and it's working really well, right? Um, Especially
Nice.
teaching our community to, get into these garden suites, right? The city has opened up the portal for us to create another property on your property. Why not take advantage of that? It's not like you're getting charged a second mortgage or anything like that. It's an opportunity for you to have more income coming in, right? Which helps with your mortgage, helps your property. Like, I mean, it's all a win-win situation. So it's just about the educating the people, making sure that they know, you know what I mean, that these things are out there and they should utilize them, because you got to prepare for the next couple of years coming, right? Next 4, 5,
Mhm.
6 years. You got to see how the economy and things are doing, right? Things are getting more expensive. It's
Yeah.
getting harder for like jobs. You know what I mean? Like right now, the union, like there's so many workers out there right now that union workers that don't have jobs right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they call me every day for some work. So it's like you really have to put your stones in the right places,
Mhm.
to really create that strong foundation from now. And that's
Yeah.
that's just a piece of advice. Just throwing that out there, a little nugget,
Wise words to live by. Definitely a great nugget to share.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, yeah. Other than that, it's pretty good.
Nice.
Just
And
growing.
so you mentioned garden suites. For those listening that aren't familiar with what those are, can you just talk a little bit about that? Maybe any
Yeah,
recent garden suite projects you've done? Can you just share that experience?
yeah. So a garden suite is a small, not as big as your house structure, that you can kind of put in your backyard, or some depends on the city that you're in, or the municipality. You could do it in your laneway. Some people turn their garage. Some laneways that have garages, they turn that into garden suites. So it's like a small suite for, I guess, maybe you can sometimes go from anywhere from 1 to 2 bedroom. Um, some municipalities allow you to do 2 floors. Some don't, right? In
Mhm. Yeah.
Pickering, I'm about to do one for my mom right now in Pickering, and when we submitted the plans and the drawings and everything, we wanted 2 floors, plus a basement. But the city came back to us and said, you're not allowed to do the second floor up top because it's too high. Every municipality has a certain height limit that you can um, that you can basically, that you have to go by, right?
Yeah.
So now we're just gonna just do the bungalow main floor and a basement, which is fine, right?
Nice.
She has pretty nice property. The house is pretty big already, and then she's gonna stay there, live there, and rent out the whole house. Because technically in Ontario, you're allowed to have 4 streams of um like tenant. So you can have like 4 tenants in one residence, right? So
Nice.
yeah, so that's
Additional
something,
revenue, right?
additional revenue, right? Because you got to think about it, right? My mom's getting older. They're not in the working class like that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
just setting up, you know, just setting up for them for the future. You know what I mean? So that they're not struggling. You know what I mean? Like we gotta think about those things from now. You know what I mean? And a lot of us are in our uh, you know, I don't know how old you are, but I'm not even gonna say my age or anything
All
like
good.
that.
All good.
But we're kind of like in the same eras where, like our parents are getting older, and we gotta kind of, set things up for them, right? So
Yeah.
that's basically what it is. Yeah. So it's just really taking the right steps, honestly, to make sure you have the future locked in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so
So
switching
technically, a
gears,
garden suite is a little home, a little house, a mini
yeah, like a
house
secondary dwelling,
that you
basically.
can what that you can rent out. Exactly, a secondary
Yeah,
dwelling. Exactly. So it has to
that's
be a,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that.
No worries, no worries.
And so if we switch gears a little bit, like I'm curious, like of all of the, I think you've done like over, was it 300 projects?
Oh,
Hundreds or even thousands yet? You've done a
so
few.
Hopefully hitting thousands soon. Hopefully hitting thousands soon. When you think
Awesome.
about all the little projects and everything like that, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
When you
good.
think
But
about like all of the projects you've done so far, like what's been the most challenging project? Can you share a little bit about like the scope of the work? Maybe what was the main challenge? Like how did you navigate that? Just share that with
um,
our listeners.
yeah, sure. One of the projects that I did with HGTV Canada, my second project with them, which was Sarah and Mark's 100-year-old house on Gerard. There, I don't know if you guys you can check it out. I actually did the second floor of that house after the show. The clients hired us to kind of come back and finish the rest of the house. They weren't gonna allow the main floor to be completely renovated, and then the second floor is whatever. So, anyways,
Right.
it's the house is down by the beaches and Woodbine, those areas. It's most of those houses are over 100-year old, and a lot of contractors don't really like doing those houses because why, it comes with a lot of can of worms. Okay,
Yep.
and I made a lot of can of worms. So when I did that project with HGTV, it was kind of like the first time I did a house that was extremely old. I mean, to the bone. Okay. So we had to definitely work a lot on different things structurally. When we worked on the second floor, their dormer was caving in on them. Like that's the master bedroom that they slept in. So
Wow.
that skylight and everything was caving in on them. If you guys want, you could check out the whole episode of that, the whole series of that project on YouTube. From start to finish, we literally blew the roof off, took the roof off of that dormer, rebuilt the whole entire roof from scratch. Did everything. Like it was a lovely experience for me. It was a challenge, but it's like we conquered it like very easily, you know what I mean? And opening up and realizing that everything was knob and tube. For those of you guys who don't know, knob and tube in electrical is back in the day, that's what they used, right? And it's like we don't kind of use that type of knob and tube anymore. It's actually not safe. It's not safe wiring, right? So it's like
Mhm.
just hitting a lot of these challenges was like real crazy. So we had to rewire the whole house, upgrade the panel, like do a lot. And it wasn't challenging per se, but I would say it was very um like there was a lot of barriers that we overcame for sure.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool working with these over 100-year-old. And then now I'm kind of making a name for myself in these neighborhoods because once you do one house, you know what I mean? It's a whole
Word of
different
mouth.
it's a whole different ball game, right? So and it's a pretty good area, right? Those areas are pretty good. It's just that the houses are a lot older, a lot of asbestos, right? These houses have lots of asbestos, right? 100%, they have asbestos all on the HVAC and the walls, the compounds. Trust me, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So, um, other
That's
than
awesome.
that, pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely sounds like an interesting experience. You
very
definitely learned a lot.
very interesting. You had joists in the ceiling that were kind of um falling apart. So you got to sister all the joists, make sure everything is yeah, it's hectic. It's a lot of work. Lots of work. Definitely a lot of work.
That's awesome. And so, like you mentioned it a little bit, but like obviously, the market's changing right now. There's a lot of people facing different challenges.
Right.
Um, Investors or even like prospective first-time home buyers looking to break into the market.
Mhm.
Like from your perspective, like what is the greatest challenge facing your business right now? Just given what's going on in the market, and then like what are some things you're doing to try to navigate that?
Doing good work. I feel like the contractors that are busy and have work right now are contractors that are doing good work out there. They're giving a good name. They have satisfied customers. That's really important, I think, in order to navigate against what's going on with the economy. Because there's lots of contractors that are slow, that don't have a lot of work coming through. But Right now with Keystone Home Renovations, we're pretty steady. We're pretty steady. We're pretty booked and busy for the rest of the year, going into next year. Kind of have clients that are already like kind of locked in. That's how I do my thing, to the point where like I kind of have to schedule clients in throughout the year, the year after, and it's just like that, right? So it's just more, and then marketing my brand, right? As you know, like I'm like, you will never catch me without, you know, my brand. You know what I mean? So that's something that I hold with high passion. And um, yeah, it's just really staying focused, and making sure that you're dealing with customers with high value and respect, because they will always know another homeowner. They always know friends that own homes. And people are more successful to heeding to someone who's had an experience, and once they explain their experience and it's a good experience, they kind of want to experience that too. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
natural, and it's just nature. So yeah, just navigating through that. And majority of our clients, are a lot of them are repeat clients, referrals. I have a lot of clients that come off of social media. So I'm actually at the point where now, like, I actually need assistance. I need help. I do everything on my own, all the paperwork, estimates, social media content, everything, right? So it's just, yeah, we're scaling. And I can't be more thankful, honestly. Can't be
That's
more
great.
thankful to be busy right now. Trust me.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it all sounds like great problems to have right now for you as you're scaling, right?
Trust me, that's what people tell me, right? And I'm not gonna like downplay it at all, right? Yeah, we're pretty busy right now. We're pretty busy right now. So I'm just hoping to scale a lot more. I'm not really seeing anything that's going to be happening in the economy that's going to kind of affect me. Like, I'm definitely not trying to think about it. I have all of my
Mhm.
contractor friends calling me, "You busy? You busy? What you doing? You're busy? What are you doing?" You know what I mean? And everybody's
Yeah.
trying to see if you're busy and this and that. But I just say, hey, things are okay. We're booked. We're doing our thing. So can't complain. Can't complain. It's a good problem to have.
Nice, nice. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. I
Yes,
really
it
appreciate
it
you.
does.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time and just sharing your experiences with our listeners.
For
Um,
sure. For sure.
yeah,
I
before I
appreciate
let
it.
you go, before I let you go, for those listening that may be looking to become a contractor themselves and like break
Mm,
into the industry, like
yeah.
what advice would you give them? And then, like, what's the best way for our listeners to reach out to you?
Well, first of all, to answer your first question, anybody, like, I encourage the trade and tech are the two biggest industries to get into. And having a skill, you don't have to be a general contractor, be like somebody else, or you got to find what you like, what you enjoy doing, and master that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Educate yourself on the type of skill you want to master. You know what I mean? Whether it be tiling, you want to get into electrical, you want to paint, you want to be a bricklayer. You gotta do your due diligence, study in that industry. They have YouTube, that kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
YouTube University, that you can kind of get ahead of the game and get a lot of knowledge on certain things, and stuff, right? So number one, that's what I would say. And yeah, basically just go for it. Don't think you can't do it. Don't for one thing you can't do it. Being consistent is absolutely key to being successful. You know what I mean? Staying consistent, resilient, through the trials and tribulations. Just not giving up on your dreams. And if you feel like you want to be this, then you go for it full force, not half-assing anything. And making sure that you do it with excellence, and that's what propel you to always reach higher heights, right? This is what we want, right? As a being, as humans, we want to, um always reach higher heights and be enlightened, right? Because we are like kings and queens out here, you know what I mean? So you gotta really propel that energy out there into the universe, right? And let people understand that we're not we were here from ancient times, and we were builders from ancient times. We taught a lot of the buildings that are up and the structures that are there now, you know what I mean, came from our lineage, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to just throw that out there. Since it's a
Yeah.
podcast is when you can usually talk freely, right? And
Oh yeah.
express your mind and say things that you want to say, you know what I mean? So I'm
Mhm.
just hoping that our people and our community will really do stand up to the time right now, especially because it's the time to stay woke. It's the time to wake up from the sleep that we've been sleeping, and really come into our masculine and feminine energies, and propel ourselves to, like, excellence. So I'll never stop preaching that, you know what I mean? And just the support of our community, especially with, women. I find that, the guys are really, really supportive. Like, I've never had like an issue to the point where, like, I wasn't being taught or helped or supported when it comes to the industry. So yeah, just getting the females to
Awesome.
come out more and support more and show love, that's really important as well. So um, yeah, thank you. You guys
Amazing.
can follow me anywhere on Keys Reno. Keys to Your Home Renovations. My website is www.keystoyourhomereno.com, and that's KEYZ with a Z, Keys with a Z. Social media, Instagram, you can catch me at Keys Reno. So that's KEYZ RENO. Facebook, Keys to Your Home Renovations. YouTube. Make sure you check out YouTube because we got a lot of episodes dropping. Might as well call me my own production company now. When it comes to the home renovations, yeah, we're taking it to different levels. So, like I said, I'm really, really excited for the future. So, y'all stay tuned and watch out, man. We coming in full force.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you jumping on and
Appreciate
sharing
it.
your experiences.
Yes,
Uh, we'll definitely have to have you on again for a future episode
I would
as you
love
continue to
that.
scale.
Why not, honey? Like, I'm ready. Like, you guys want to talk? Let's talk. We can go deeper. We can talk it. Trust me, I'm down for that. Yeah, I really
Love it.
appreciate you too. Right? Thank God for you, right? Because you're. If it wasn't for you, now we wouldn't, have the opportunity to kind of, like, speak freely. Have
Mhm.
others hear, other Black, entrepreneurs and stuff like that, right? So thank you very much for hosting me and having this platform up for me and others to come and, tell
Yeah,
their story. You know what I mean? So
that's
really
what we
appreciate
do.
it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Black Wealth Effect podcast.